Catch it.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to this EnergyTalk. Magalie, you told me that your hat is your trademark.
Yes.
So tell me all about it.
My hat. I have my hat all the time. You know me by my hat, I think.
Yes.
You even have questions like, why am I wearing a hat all the time?
Because the first time I saw you, it was at the WBII event. And I looked at you and I looked at how you were dressed, and the hat was really eye-catching. And I thought, why is she wearing a hat? Does she always wear a hat? Well, probably she loves wearing a hat, so that's just her style. So, but tell me, because...
Basically, yes, so you're right. So I love wearing hats. I wear hats even when I'm not in business environment. So I have literally a hat. I have a collection of hats, which I fit with my clothing. Some people do shoes, I do hats. And it comes to the point that since now I'm a freelancer, I'm working for myself, I decided to dress the way I want. Because when I was working in corporate, I had to comply to the standards, and that was not really me. So now, if I have the choice, I wear hats, and because I really do love hats. And one day, my mom said, "Magalie, why are you really wearing hats?" Because I started to embody the hat. I was 40, so it was not so long ago. So, and I was like, just because I like them. Okay. And since that day, she doesn't criticize my hat anymore.
Yes, that's wonderful. But what are the advantages of wearing a hat as a solopreneur?
I've never thought about that. Probably it already gives an idea of who I am. I think I'm more. I like to be casual. And also in a way, and that's also a side effect. So it's a thought-through process halfway, in a sense that people who don't like me wearing a hat because I'm not formal enough, or I don't represent the, let's say, normal way of doing business, then they will not come to me, they will not address me and stuff like this. And I'm so happy with this, because I need a kind of informal vibe. I need a sense of humanity. And if people judge you by your appearance, the way you look, then for me there's already a mismatch, because I don't value people by the way they present. I want to know them, I want to have an opinion about them, not the way they look. And since I worked in corporate for 20 years, there was lots of appearances, there was lots of you have to because this is, and I don't want that anymore. So the hat in a way is a way to first to present myself the way I am, and also kind of to push back the people that I probably won't have a good connection with.
Yes, and that keeps up the energy, the good energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, and also what you told me earlier is that it helps you to not say no, because you don't like to say no. But yeah, if it's not necessary, then yeah, it just clears the space, and you have more energy to focus on what you want to do.
I once heard a very good marketing advice to say you have to be at the same time a magnet for the people who you want to work with and interact with, and a repellent for the people that you don't want to deal with.
Wonderful.
So by embodying who I am and who I want to be, it's this what happens. This is the same on my website. My hat is everywhere, and I'm an IT person. We're probably gonna touch about that in the following of the conversation. But on my website, you can see me in yoga poses with a Tibetan bowl, and I also have a very spiritual way to address the business. And if this is not what people are seeking for an IT expert per se, and say, oh, we want something very serious, very whatever, they're going to move away. Mm-hmm. And I'm never going to hear from them, and it's keeping my safe energy, my sanity. Because as you said, I don't like saying no, or I feel bad when I'm in a position where I don't feel recognized or understood and stuff like that. And just by creating this universe, which is really me, those people, they don't enter my world, and I love that. So that was a very good advice I got.
Yes, and you implement it,
and it works.
Yes, it works. Yeah, so you're working as a solopreneur, and on your homepage there are 3 keywords: personal development, spirituality, and technology.
Yes.
And we will speak about all the aspects of the solopreneurship in a bit. But first of all, you have been working by yourself and for yourself for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, you worked corporate for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me there was an interesting phase towards the end of your corporate career, right? Could you tell me more about that phase?
Yes, so that was like, I would say the questioning started around already my 30th birthday, so it started quite a long time ago, while being a bit bored of not the routine, but still the same type of work. I was working in quality assurance, so as a tester, and what you see is only not working software. In the day, it's like the whole day is about not working softwares, because it's bugs after bugs we need to report. And my mission was really, like, when I started wanting to be in IT, was to help making better software to help users to ease their life. And in the end, it didn't turn like that. It was like, well, we need to ship the software regardless. There's zillions of bugs, whatever, and it just went to production. And that felt very frustrating. And that's when I started a kind of mini 30 years old crisis-ish. I went to drumming, just as a way to, relieve my
stress levels.
Yeah, frustration, whatever. And I got really hooked into that, to a point that I started a blog, and it got some tractions, and then people more and more asked me to say, oh, but the way you see drumming and you explain drumming is cool. Can you make a course out of it? So I started developing on the side, as a side business from my corporate world, drumming lessons, online drumming lessons, where I had my drums, I filmed the videos and stuff like this. And at the end of my corporate career, the frustration was growing and growing, because on one hand, I had the impression that it was still the same, loads of meetings, lots of, it's hard, I don't know if you're gonna cut that, but lots of bullshit, honestly. You can beep it.
you can speak freely.
Yeah. And I couldn't stand that, because I was still in charge of quality assurance. I still saw the non-working softwares, and they were still shipping. So I started questioning my role. And I had an experiment I haven't told you about. So because of some restructuring and auditing, blah, 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 they said, oh, we have too many managers and you lost the technical specialties. So you need to upskill yourself in more technical roles. I said, okay, fair enough. And so I took the more difficult course to be done. And because it was a serious course, I said, okay, I'm going to do full on. But since I had some involvement in projects, that was in my way. And the project, I found them stupid, because it was like only blah, blah, blah meetings, no agenda, no meeting. I had the feeling that I was losing my time going to those meetings, and I couldn't progress on my course. So I started...
Right, so this was the period that you got wore out by your work?
Yeah, and then I withdrew from those meetings to put effort in the training. So I stopped going to those meetings, and after 3 months I was not going to any meetings at all, and nobody ever asked me, hey Magalie, where are you? What are you doing?
That's an interesting observation from your side.
So that's when I realized that I had a useless position, because it didn't matter whether I was doing my job or not, and that was the period that was really difficult for me. And at the same time, I had still my dream to get my drumming lessons even higher, more clients, more students and stuff. And this corporate job was in my way. I felt forced to spend those 8 hours doing some corporate job because that was on my contract, and on the same side working evenings and weekends to push my online business, online drumming lessons. So I quitted. I quitted the job to focus on the drumming lessons.
All right, but next to feeling that you were bored out, were you also burned out? Or is there a difference between the two for you?
There was probably, it's a mix, because for the burnout was more like I was filling up my days around with all the drumming aspects. So there's promoting my courses, building a website, building the lessons, editing the lessons, filming, editing. I was also in a music band, so we had rehearsals.
But that sounds like you were having energy, right?
Yeah,
That
but with the job it was not possible, kind of. And and so each time, every morning was like a big, stress ball in your tummy, and on the edge of crying every morning.
So you were suffering physical complaints because of the job.
Yeah, and I also saw that I was doing that for years. I started the drumming lessons in 2014, and that was 2019.
But did the drumming help for you to maintain your energy level in a way that you could just proceed with your life?
It was more difficult and more difficult, because at the beginning it could, but then the frustration grew so much that I couldn't take the time I had the impression to waste from the corporate job to do my drumming lessons.
Right.
And then it went to the point I couldn't stand my job anymore. So with my now ex-husband, we agreed that I would quit to put all my effort on my drumming lessons. So that was the thing. So, but it didn't go really the way I thought it would. So that was February 2020. February 2020. In March 2020.
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
Yes. So
it was the best time to start your business.
It was, let's say, the first 7 months were amazing, because people are desperate to have any kind of activity going on. But after the, let's say, 6-7 months, when the lockdown wore off, I saw really a decrease of interest, and also people started questioning their priorities, because it's still a hobby, drumming, and it was, for extreme beginners, like first-time drummer, and mostly people who were like, I would say, the middle life crisis, 35 years old and above, that always had a dream to drum but never took the chance, and now, and it was harder and harder to find customers at that time. And also we divorced in the same time, so suddenly I had to find a sustainable source of income for myself. So this year was a kind of transitioning year, and that's how I ended up with what I'm doing. It was more like a kind of by accident or by luck, called or synchronicity, I don't know. It's more like I was part of a network group of business people, like entrepreneurs, small ones, solopreneurs, in the context of my drumming lessons. And I heard a member say, "Oh, my tech guy let me down. I don't know how to do it. I need someone who knows how to deal with emails with sequences, send automated invoices, deal with my webinars and stuff." And thinking about that, I was like ticking all the boxes mentally, because this is what I've been doing myself for my drumming business.
So how did you respond to the story?
I applied for the job, but the person was taken aback because they didn't see me as a tech person. They only knew me as the online drumming person. So they didn't know my 20 years background in IT. They didn't know I automated all what I could, because I could only spend one day a week on the drumming, because I had a...
Yes, but there was someone else who did see something in your offer.
Yeah, so I said, oh, I can, and then I posted a message on a group, say, by the way, I know how to do this, and that. And somebody just jumped on it. And it was a Taoist teacher. And I went online because of COVID. I had no idea about any tools and stuff, and said, oh, I need to launch a webinar, and can you help out? And yes, I did, and she managed to launch our webinar.
Yes.
And that was my first customer, basically.
So, and at this point, you hadn't registered yet at the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, for my drumming lessons.
Oh, for your drumming lessons, but not for your technical knowledge?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, it's still the same ZZP, but I just added a new activity.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah, great.
So I'm still officially entitled to give drumming lessons.
So this is how your business started?
Yeah.
And from there on, you started building on your personal branding.
Yeah.
And amongst that, your head is your trademark. But what I find really beautiful and intriguing about your way of working is how you have positioned it. So yeah, so I read the words computer chakra alignment.
Yes.
And chakras really resonate with the spiritual side of my work in guiding clients. Yeah, but the first time I heard about it, it was like, what do you mean by computer chakra alignment? Yes.
Well, it's a kind of, it's made on purpose, of course, is to bring this sense of curiosity, and it's also what I do. Because I believe that if people are aligned with their technology, meaning they know how to use it, it seems easy to them, they don't struggle, and they like it. So this is what I mean by alignment. They find it beautiful when aesthetics is important to them, or it is efficient when they need efficiency, or it's guiding when they need guidance. This is what I call the alignment. Then the tech aspect will support them in their vision for their business. It will not prevent them from launching a new product, launching a new marketing campaign. If each time let's say they want to make a promotion, they're like, oh, and I need to make up a new web page, sales page, and I need to send out those emails, but I don't know where my list is, and I need to schedule something on my software, and I have no idea where it is. They're not going to do it, or they're going to do half of it. So the idea is, like, by an alignment, first is to use automation, because that's one of my specialty, to ease those kind of things. So when you want to shoot out an email, you just write an email, press send, and you know it's going to reach the right person. Or let's say the group of people that have shown an interest in this type of offer or subject, without having to think about all the technological aspects. So it's like it frees your mind, and it opens up the possibility. And that's exactly what happened with this Taoist teacher.
And it opens your chakras as well.
Yeah, because you feel, I think you are more confident, and it's also about energy. It's like, oh, you dare more, So I'm here to alleviate the technical ceiling. And that's the alignment with yourself, but also between the tools. Because when you choose correctly the tool that suits you and suit your business, because sometimes you say, oh, whatever, fashion tool, Notion is the great new thing, maybe not for you. Maybe not for your business, maybe not for your personality. Maybe.
Yes, talk to me about your ideal clients. Or maybe first dive into the different types of personalities.
They are so different. Well, for the side note, I now ask for the date of birth to my client when they're on board with me, and some don't want to give their date of birth because they think, what the fuck.
Oh, what's the reason that you're asking for a date
Oh,
of birth?
because I run their human design body graph when I receive their date of birth and place of birth, which gives me insights on first insight on their personality and their preferences.
Yes, and human design is a personal development tool.
Yes, kind of, and it's really to know yourself, you know. And I've studied it for almost 2 years. And now I'm at a point where I use it as a tool for myself to better guide, but more underneath. I will never tell you I'm using human design, but if I know your profile, I know which question have more chances to get the correct answer. Not the correct answer, but your real profound answer. Not the answer you think you should give but more the one that comes from within yourself. So
interesting.
Yes. So, for instance, if I present, sometimes it happens if people don't have all the tooling necessary. For instance, if you ask about type of people, I have very organized people like accountants and let's say real estate. No, stereotypes. I have a real estate customer which is not organized. But say a accountant customer of mine, super organized with spreadsheets and stuff, very, box, arrow, step 1, step 2, very organized. I have other customers who are more, I would say they are more on the creative side, and it's harder for them to stick to those steps of a process. And if they are missing a very important tool in their tool set, for instance, a task management system, which might be very critical if you don't want to lose any ideas, if you don't want to forget to do important stuff, instead of going with my go-to system, because I have one that I like very much, I will look at that chart, question them a little bit, and I would propose 3 tools that might appeal to them, and then try to sense the one they are most likely to use. Because this is what is the most important. It doesn't matter that you put a tool in place, if at the end they don't use it and they're back to their post-it notes, it's not going to help, especially if they want to work with other people. And usually this is where it reaches the limit. When you're really alone, it doesn't matter that you have 15 post-it notes flying on your desk.
Yeah, so that's the reason why you really dive into the personality traits and the human design body graph, because then you can custom make all these different tools.
That's something I have in mind when I'm building up the solution. So it's really a tailor-made approach. Yeah. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. I hate this. When I see that on social media, it's like, this is the new tool that's going to change the world. No. Oh, the question, what is the best tool? There is no best tool. They all have their flaws, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. And I can tell you that I've seen it because I'm also working with the tools customers have, because if they have a tool, they've been using it for years, they know how to use it, and they are good with that, I'm nobody to tell them to change.
Yes, but the most important thing is that firstly that the tool appeals to them, and secondly that it does the work that they need.
Yeah, and if the tool is, let's say, to such an extent does the job but is missing out of something, so usually it's about reporting, it's about automation, you sell something, you want an invoice, and that goes to your accountant, typically the boring stuff, and let's say the less organized people, they tend to forget or push that on the side until they reach a stage where it's incredibly hard to make any sense out of the thing. So the automation would just free their mind. So as soon as you say you sold something, invoice is created, sent to the accountant, and they don't have to think about that, this is heaven for them. So this is where I come. It's like, okay, are you struggling with this aspect? Yeah. And sometimes not so much about automating what comes often, it's also automating what costs you a lot of energy. And so those are the two aspects I am helping. And this, so that's really what I do, and it's really custom made. So
yes, it frees the mind, and it helps you to experience more energy.
Yes,
for
it's really
all the things that you find important to do in terms of work or creativity, or
yes, as a business owner, you should be spending most of your time of what thrills you and what brings business. Not the administrative work, not the technicalities. So the idea is as much as possible, but still as simple as possible. So it's not ending in a gas factory, nobody knows how it works anymore.
Could you name like a few tools that you have implemented in your business and that saves you loads of time and gives you and frees up a lot of energy?
For customers or for myself?
For yourself.
Oh, for myself is everything that has to do with customer follow-up. So I always like to speak face-to-face to customer before I start a mission to know whether it's a good fit. So the first step is make an appointment with me, and then I have my form with the date of birth and place of birth, which is already the first step. And I already have an idea. If somebody doesn't fill up the date of birth, they say, oh, that's interesting. And I'm really thinking about making it mandatory now, because I had a few bad experiences with people who didn't want to put it into it. And it turns out that are the customers I don't really like so much working with, as a coincidence. So once you submit you booked your, let's say, session with me, it's a half an hour just talking for free, then it creates automatically a customer contact on my Notion. So with all the questions that were asked, even down to, because I also ask what is your favorite hot beverage, just as a...
You mean during the first contact in the form of a telephone conversation or a video call?
It's a video call, but it could be also a phone. But I like video because I work mostly with remote people, and I'm very visual. And when we work together, I go on their website and put their picture in my system because I need a face.
So you have linked the conversation to Notion?
Yeah. So it creates this contact page with all the information they filled from the form. And
and that's all automatically?
I have nothing to do.
You're not making notes during the conversation?
During the conversation, I'm making notes. And based on the outcome of the conversation, either it's a fit or not. So if I see I can help them, I make them a proposal. And if they agree during the let's say the conversation, usually I make a summary email with the proposal. And if that sounds good to them and they answer back, then I go to my invoicing system and ask for a advanced payment. But because they are already in my system, because when then I ask them to fill up another form, which is the onboarding form, where there's like all the details for invoicing, address, blah, 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 and KVK numbers and VAT number. So once they've done that on the form, it creates the customer in my invoicing system and in my bookkeeping system. So I send, then I just have to enter the price for the invoice, send from the invoicing system, and it goes to them. And when they pay, then I change the status on my Notion thing. They've paid.
But you change the status yourself.
Yeah, the thing I could. I've chosen not to do it. I could link my invoicing system to a payment system, so the invoicing system would know when it's paid. But it's Stripe and it takes some fees and I don't have enough volumes. I mean, I probably make 4 invoices a month. It's okay. So I just go on my bank statement and say, oh, they paid, and that's okay. And then when it's paid, the invoice goes automatically from my invoicing system to the bookkeeping system.
Yes.
And then I send an email. Yes, it's on my
That's wonderful.
My accountant loves it. And then and also chose a bank that is plugged directly to the bookkeeping system, because before I used to be a bank where it was not possible. So every month I had to import all the statements, and I am really bad with admins. Really, really, really. So I was forgetting, my accountant kept on reminding to do that, so he could not really cross-check if the invoices were paid and stuff. So I changed the bank just because I could link it. I pay a little fee for that. And now it's automatic, so I don't need to bother about that. And that's what is about freeing your mind. So my accountant is happy because he gets the movement directly in the accounting system, and I don't need to deal about that. So this is the type of thing I've automated for myself. And also because here in Holland we there is this 1,225 hours a year.
The minimum that you need to work.
It's not that a minimum, but you gain. You are considered as an entrepreneur, and then you can get some discounts on your income taxes. So it's not that you have to, but if you do work those hours and you don't track them, then you can't apply for that benefit. And
so what you also design are tracking systems.
Well, I charge by the hour my customers, but I don't always work for my customers. I also work for my business. So for instance, the conversation we are having now is a kind of networking thing, and it counts as working. And so I have 2 systems, one that I charge my customers, and another system where my computer only asks me on a regular basis, what are you doing?
No way.
Yes, every 15 minutes, what are you doing? And you can change it. And if I label it as work, it goes into my time, my work time.
But so you have integrated AI, right, to help you?
Somehow, yes. And then it just builds up this time tracker, this spreadsheet. And because I never know how much hours in the total, then I group my customer time with my, let's say, admin, other stuff together, and I put a dashboard on top of that, so I know how much work I've done the previous week, the previous month, how much I've charged, what was the ratio between me working for myself and me working for customers. And sometimes I realize that, Magalie, something is off, you're spending way more time on your personal business than on customer work. But this customer work is what brings you money, so change your priorities. And this is automated. It's not that I need to sit every Friday evening, what have you done today? And and that really relieves me a lot, because I'm not one of these people who have the discipline every Friday evening to reflect on what I've done, how much time. No, I mean, I'm always up to the last minute doing my last thing, and there's a new appointment, and then I'm heading to the next thing. I need to pick up my son. So I built a system that support my way of being, because you can ask me to say every Friday you need to put aside half an hour to reflect on your week. I would put it in my calendar. But when it comes and say, I still have to finish something for a customer. There is this interesting topic to dive into, and I know I won't do it. So it doesn't help to try to force myself to do something I don't like. I prefer to have the technology adapting to my way of working.
Yes.
So that's.
So perhaps I missed something, but you mentioned that you have another computer who is asking you every 15 minutes, like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
So how does that help you to do your work?
So if I'm not charging for a customer, because I have a timer.
Yeah, now I remember. So it's about the charge time that you're spending.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing something that is being charged,
yes,
you get conscious of the fact that you are doing that.
Yeah.
Because of the,
and that's also maybe my neurodivergent mind. While I'm charging, I need a timer that does tick-tock, tick-tock. Because this way I know I'm charging.
Oh, it's hot. It's so hot.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand.
Because otherwise I will, maybe my mind crosses an idea and wants to follow it, and that derive from the focused work, and then I forget that I was billing this time, and the constant tick-tock is really in the background, and I have music plus tick-tock. Yes. And it keeps you on the flow. And then I only do customer work. And what I realized lately is that now I start putting the ticking system, even when I do work for myself, because it's as if it reminds me that, stay on the track, And if I don't, then it's kind of open flow, and I can go everywhere, and from one idea to searching.
I know, so that's different from my type of work, because like my charge time is spent with the client in a session.
Okay, the beginning and an end.
Yeah, there is a very clear beginning and an end, and afterwards I always write a coaching email in which I point out all the topics that we have discussed, or the things that we have worked on, the type of exercise that we have done. So that's what I share afterwards, and I have like a promise that I agreed with myself and towards the client, that the client will receive that within 3 days. But what I lately noticed is that it's better for me to write it as quickly as possible.
It's still fresh in your mind.
Yeah, it's still fresh on my mind. So yes, so that's different, and that gives me a lot of time to put energy and effort in my creative outlets, like writing or creating this the EnergyTalk with you. So in that sense, our work is kind of different.
Yes.
Yeah.
My work is constantly looking for solving problems and investigating for solutions, technicals or stuff. And I stumble upon so many tools. I always want to try all of them, but I can't.
No, I would love to create lots of, books and everything related to that.
We discussed it earlier, because now with AI coming up, and it can be very helpful. For instance, what we're doing now, we're recording a very long, when I say very long, longer than half an hour, and it's very hard to identify the topics, because it's a kind of free discussion format. So we have now post-it notes where we say, we're going to speak about this, this and that. So we don't really know where we're going. And if you want to summarize it, to say what are the nuggets from that discussion, it's very tedious. And I have that with my case studies, because I do a case study after each mission with a customer, and that can be a 45 minute to an hour long video call. And I couldn't be bothered. It's really like was killing me to listen, making note, that is interesting. I don't have the time for that. I can't just sit, because it's not only one listening, it's probably another one and another one until you find all the interesting stuff. Let's say, let's give it a try, feed it to AI, give it the format you want, like small excerpt, bullet points of interesting moments with time code. It worked. It just worked. And it saved me so much time that I didn't have to listen back to the entire case study. And then I was like, wow, this is really cool. And you can tailor to your way of speaking as well, because it can be very formal. As this is the and no, because this is not how I speak. So I tailored it to my way of speaking. And then it makes it, more personal, and also very interesting to say, I also have technical coaching sessions where people are struggling with the technology. They know they're like, I would say they are more of the type that are disorganized or not very natural with technology, a little bit afraid and not so organized. And if they sense that they've reached a kind of limit that it prevents them from going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a customer like that. He was like not managing his email at all. And we had a session we really delved into his Gmail. And he discovered features he had no idea they existed. But for me, it was like the basics. But we recorded it. And because there was so much new stuff for him, I provided this time-coded stuff where you say, at that time, we touch upon this concept. This is filters. This is out of office. This is... And so it can always refer back to... Because it was too much information for an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. There's no way it can...
Yeah, but that's wonderful.
So
yes.
It's a kind of a bundle. You say, okay, this is the video, so you can listen again or watch it again. But with the time code, so you don't have to rewatch the hour and a half video to find what you were looking for.
So these technical coaching sessions are for a specific problem, and then you'll fix the problem.
It's not the technical. It's technical efficiency. So it's to get yourself more confident about using your own tools, and teaching you how to use the tools you already have in a most efficient way.
Yes.
And then you refer back to the different points we discussed about, and when the time comes, I say, oh, I knew. How do you make a rule to sort out automatically my emails? I know it exists. We discussed it with Magalie. Oh, time code.
Yes.
Rules.
Fantastic.
And then you click, and boom, you're there. So, and that's what also the AI has helped to deliver a better service to my customer, with me not doing more.
Yes, but doing it more efficiently.
It's more efficient,
yeah,
yes.
Because you know how it works, or you have put time and energy into researching how it works.
And that's what drives me. I mean, I'd rather spend an hour in going into detail of how this AI tool is working and how I can plug it together with another thing, than spending another hour and a half listening to a video, just making notes to find where are the important points. This I will never do. That, yes.
Yeah.
So it's how to bridge the thing. And that's really my approach. And then with all this knowledge, I try to present what I can to my customers, thinking what can help them the best.
Yes, and let's dive into your neurodivergent brain for a bit. Because you mentioned it earlier in one of your stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the impression that sometimes my brain is racing and I can't keep up. My mouth sometimes can't keep up with my ideas.
Yes, your mouth can't keep up with the information that you would like to share.
Yeah, and I'm kind of conscious sometimes that I need to slow down, pace down. Also, have probably 3 ideas at the same time when I start a sentence, and it's very common that I stop halfway and I already go on the second idea, and it can be very frustrating for the other person because they never hear the end of the story.
I've noticed it a couple of times during this talk up until now.
I apologize for that.
No, it's totally fine. But I just noticed it and I thought, okay, I have to keep up with you.
So it goes really fast, fast. And it's constantly pops in, and links are made all the time.
Yeah,
and
so you naturally make a lot of associations.
Oh yeah. But between all the aspects in my life, because earlier you asked me the question, so what are you obsessed with now? And I'm passionate about technology, and I'm also very interested in psychology and also neurodiversity, and lately I was wondering if I was not ADHD. Officially I'm not, but my psychologist said you're on the spectrum, basically, because I miss a few of the criteria to have the official label, because in my youth it was not obvious, but I would probably have the one without hyperactivity, because I was quiet, probably lots of in my mind.
You mean ADD?
ADD, yeah, without the age. And also being a girl at that time, it gets a little less noticed when you're ADD. What's the name again? ADD. It's like, it's normal. She's quiet, but if in your mind it's like crazy, yes, nobody notices. So officially not, but my psychologist said, yeah, very likely. And
I think also, I don't know if you have investigated for yourself, but have you thought about being highly gifted?
Yes, she said, yeah, probably. Yeah, but I haven't passed any tests. I haven't done any tests. Yeah, very likely. Very likely.
Yes, and all these diagnoses, help you. Well, you are not diagnosed, but you recognize some of the characteristics.
Yeah,
right?
and also those...
And just knowing about those characteristics, it helps you to manage your life.
And to accept myself a little more, because before it was more like you're not like everyone, and you need to fit in this box. It's not cool to have zillions of ideas. You need to focus on one thing, yeah, you know. And also, because of this, is also the energy goes up and down. I have my creative waves, and then there is kind of deep. I wasn't aware of that before, and then I self-pitied myself. I was like, I was angry about myself when I was in my low phases.
Oh no!
Yeah, because you don't know. It's like, and as if something is broken. You know, you don't know why you don't feel good or even bad about yourself. Say, those are the periods where I think I'm a stupid person. I'm not able of doing anything. It's fully vulnerability and disclosure. It's very. Sometimes it's hard to.
But partially, it's because of a high functioning brain.
Yeah,
right?
and it's tiring.
Yes,
it is just tiring because the brain is working full power, and eventually it crashes. It needs some rest. But during those rest moments, it's difficult because it's thrilling to be high. It's really, it's like, yeah, I would say. We even mentioned the possibility of the third form of bipolarity, which is not the very scary one everyone knows about, where you go completely ecstatic and I'm the king of the world, and then the next day you're suicidal. No, there's a kind of minor version of it we don't hear a lot about, but those are the waves, and by knowing that they are just waves, it helps to be more understanding. It helps me to be more understanding towards myself, and say, okay, I'm surfing high at the moment. It's gonna go down. Let's enjoy the high, the wave.
Yes, of course. Like for me, yesterday we had the bottle at the WBII, and. I had so many conversations and new insights, lots of laughter, and it was really fun to have been there. But it was a day full of conversations and listening as well, because during the evening I signed up for listening to a lecture of one of my favorite trainers of a method that I'm using in my work, which is called Social Panorama.
Okay.
So I listened for an hour and a half. And oh my gosh, I thought, okay, I don't know if I will fall asleep easily tonight. And somehow I did within half an hour. So that's kind of a successful, or it's kind of an achievement that worked. But then I woke up 4:45 this morning. So now I'm living on adrenaline, because from that moment onwards, I had so many thoughts. Like I was consciously processing everything that I had listened to.
Yeah. I know.
Yes. Yeah, but
Yesterday I took a
yes.
sleeping pill because I knew it would happen. So I say, I had already very exciting days before,
Yes.
and I had trouble to stay asleep, not to fall
Yeah.
asleep. So it's like waking at 2 a.m. and then there it goes, you know, the brain starts, and that's the ideation thing. It's like, no, I don't want a third night like this sleeping pill to start with. So I had my baby night today, but I knew it. Yeah, I feel you, because this is exactly it. You know, it's like it's so busy,
And it's very challenging. It's very challenging to make choices on a daily and weekly basis, especially because I think what we also have in common is that we have different interests.
Oh yeah,
right? And you want to have time to dive into it, but there's not enough time to do that. And yeah, when you have had exciting days, or maybe work related or other types of activities, and there's also a really fun gathering organized by, I don't know, your favorite network, then it's like, okay, choices.
yeah. I find it super hard to make those choices.
Let's make healthy choices, like all the time, right?
It's one of my most difficult challenge.
Yes.
And then I fall flat, and the body says no more. And then I would be 3 days spent alone, then Netflixing, and because I can't take it more. It's very hard for me. Because I don't see the limit, or I don't feel the limit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, maybe you can use your technical knowledge and skills to invent something.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm currently working it's a kind of mood checker lately, because it's also part of life. Menopause might kick in anytime soon, and the mood swings that go with them. And instead of just recording about the mood, recording about the energy. And now I'm getting into a kind of routine where my phone asks me to fill up my little mood form. So I've been on a kind of steady rhythm, filling up, and it's like, okay, I might add a few more questions to see whether there is a pattern of energy, because I've been recording my sleep. Of course, I'm a geek person, so I have this ring that records my sleep. And I haven't seen any correlation between the way I feel and the amount of sleep, or even the quality of sleep I have. It's not related. So, but the energy, the way you feel, is different from how you slept. So now I was thinking about recording, a kind of checkpoint, say, how do you feel? What's your energy? And so I probably will change this form to add this energy check with myself on a daily basis, and maybe to monitor those waves and see them coming, because
yes, but speaking about those menopause or perimenopause waves, they change like every couple of months, or depending on your lifestyle is different for each woman. But if you can predict it maybe for a couple of months, it's a win, I think.
Yes. But even to see a kind of pattern, it doesn't have to be a cycle, but you say, oh, now it looks like you're going down, because I don't have the distance to feel, say, oh, I feel less good than 2 days ago, or 3 days ago it was terrific, I felt high and stuff, and now I'm going down. I don't really have this the step back. And maybe having, because I'm very visual, I've put in colors of the high energy is probably green, and then it goes down to orange and red, and say, oh, I'm getting down to this period of time where it's going. And then it would give me maybe this feedback, like, hold on, Magalie. Don't take three social commitment in a day anymore. And it's okay to go in your cave and don't speak to human beings for a month. Not a month, but...
but that's fantastic. It's good to know that about yourself.
I try, and I agree with you. So the technology is kind of helping, or at least I'm trying from a technological point of view.
Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah. Of course, if you know how it works, how to implement it, how to use it, how to keep track, how to read, I don't know, the conclusions out of it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So my final question for you is, what is your mission in life?
My mission in life is, I think of myself as someone who wants to help people who are helping. In a sense that I like to be in the background of things, so I will never be the spoken person on stage. I used to be a drummer. You don't see the drummer. The drummer is in the back of the stage. But without the drummer, there is no music. It's the foundation beat. So that's my favorite position.
Oh, that's a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah, that's a connection I've made.
Yes.
Before, with my drumming lessons, I was the front person. And I had lots of myself to promote, blah, blah, blah. I didn't like it. So now I'm working for people whose mission is to help people. Like probably people in the health theme, or, or even accountants, they help people in a way. So that's my mission. At least this is where I feel comfortable with. And I see myself, and that's also related to human design, more as a guide to empower people. Because I don't want to do it for the people, I want to show them how to do it.
Yes, you're the technical guide.
Yes, but some people and some technical person, they have a kind of sense of pride to do it themselves, and they will never disclose how they do it. I'm not that kind of person, and I don't need this sense of recognition, or she did something very... No, I say, take it, make it your own, become confident, use it, autonomous, self-confidence. I want you to grow. That's my thing. I want you to grow. So I put tools together so you can grow, even if it's from a technical point of view. I don't really care. It could be psychology. I mean, I just ended up to be into technology, but in another life, maybe I would have been in psychology, or I don't know. It's just the way it went. But I think this is more like empower people, guide them when they are lost, and that's why I like question and answer, and usually answer with a question. I don't answer with an answer. I'll help them to think.
Yes.
So and that's what I like really. So guiding people to become autonomous, stand alone, being able for themselves, and to help them grow in their professional life, and sometimes also just through discussions, conversations. So I can do that day in, day out.
That's beautiful.